Snow crunched under Daniel Reeves's boots as he walked briskly down the dimly lit street, his breath forming clouds in the freezing night air. The city had gone quiet under the weight of winter, wrapped in thick white snow and silence. It was nearly midnight, and most people were indoors, warming their hands around mugs of cocoa or lying under blankets, far from the cold reality outside. But Daniel wasn't most people. He had just finished his late shift at the mechanic's garage, the third job he had picked up since his divorce 2 years ago. Raising his 8-year-old daughter Emma alone in a city like this meant no breaks, no breathing room. Every penny mattered. Every hour worked meant something in her lunchbox or shoes that actually fit. He was exhausted, every muscle in his body aching, but his mind was alert as always, watching, listening. He had taken a shortcut through an older side street that cut behind an abandoned lot. It wasn't the safest path, but it was faster, and he had walked it enough times to not be afraid. Still, something about that night felt different. He heard a sharp cry. Faint, muffled. He stopped. Just up ahead near a parked black SUV, a man stood with his back to Daniel. He was tall, wearing a thick jacket, his posture aggressive. A woman was with him, barely visible in the dim streetlight, but Daniel saw the panic in her body language. She was trying to pull away, slipping on the icy pavement. The man yanked her arm hard, forcing her toward the open car door. Her other hand flailed, trying to grab anything, hope, maybe a miracle. Daniel didn't think, he moved. He sprinted toward them, boots skidding on the snow, heart pounding louder than the wind that bit at his face. As he got closer, he shouted, "Hey, let her go." The man didn't turn. He pushed the woman harder, forcing half of her body into the car now. She screamed louder. Daniel didn't ask again. He grabbed the man by the collar, yanked him back with full force, and without hesitation, punched him hard across the face. The man staggered, falling into the snow, dazed. The woman collapsed to her knees, breathing hard, tears freezing on her cheeks. Daniel stood protectively in front of her, fists clenched, adrenaline surging. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice steady despite the rage in his chest. She nodded slightly, unable to speak yet. The man groaned on the ground, trying to get up, but Daniel stepped forward and planted his foot near the man's chest. "Move again, and I'll break your face," he said coldly. Just then, headlights appeared from the end of the road. A police cruiser pulled up. Someone must have called after hearing the scream. 2 officers jumped out and immediately separated everyone. "She was being assaulted," Daniel said quickly, pointing to the man. "He was forcing her into the car." The woman finally spoke. "He followed me from the train station. I don't know him. He tried to grab me before, but I ran. This time I couldn't get away." The man tried to protest, but one of the officers cut him off. "You're done, turn around." Cuffed and dragged to the squad car, he kept his head down. Daniel stayed with the woman while the officers took statements. Her name was Rachel Turner, 24 years old. She worked the night shift at a hospital and had just been walking home. She had noticed the man following her earlier in the week, but didn't think much of it until tonight, when he waited near her apartment and ambushed her. She was shaking uncontrollably. Daniel took off his coat and wrapped it around her. "You're safe now, you're not alone." She looked up at him, tears falling silently, and whispered, "If you hadn't been here, I don't know what would have happened." Daniel didn't answer, he just gave a small, understanding nod. Later that night, once Rachel was taken home safely by the police and things had calmed down, Daniel finally returned to his apartment. Emma was fast asleep, curled up in the blanket she always dragged to the couch when waiting for him. He kissed her forehead gently, his hands still cold, his heart still racing from everything that had happened. He looked out the window, the snow still falling gently, and let out a deep breath. The next few days were quiet, but Rachel didn't forget. She showed up at his door a week later, holding a bag of groceries and a nervous smile. "I thought maybe I could say thank you properly for saving my life." Daniel hesitated, then let her in. Emma peeked from behind the hallway wall and gave a shy wave. Rachel smiled at her. What started with fear and violence slowly turned into quiet conversations over coffee, short walks with Emma in the snow, and dinners that felt warm despite the winter outside. Rachel, still healing, found safety in Daniel's presence. Daniel, still guarded, found a kind of peace in her kindness. They never rushed anything, they didn't need to. But Rachel never forgot that night, and Daniel never forgot what it meant to be exactly where he was supposed to be at the exact right moment. Sometimes heroes don't wear uniforms. Sometimes they're just tired fathers with rough hands and soft hearts who are in the right place when no one else is. And sometimes one punch thrown in the cold night saves a life and changes two more forever.